We're taking a look at a pretty cool tool for the pistol shooter, and it's called the Kaiser sight adjustment tool. We're going to take a look at it with an XD, with an M&P, the Glock, a 1911, and even a Makarov, just to kind of show you some of the spectrum that it can work with. Comes in a nice cardboard box, has a universal sight tool tutorial DVD. We took a watch of this. It's about almost 20 minutes long, and it kind of goes over all the different ways you can use the tool. Otherwise, it's not much to it. It's just a box so it doesn't get beat up, and the tool. Very well made, very solid. It's not something that's so big you wouldn't want to take it into a range bag. Weighs 1 pound, 7.6 ounces. And we're looking at about 6 inches, 7 inches diagonal. 6 inches by 6 inches, just over a pound. So not a bad tool to have in the sight in a range bag. Taking a closer look at it then. It's a frame with some adjustable blocks, and there's one here to provide height. There's one here to snug up the frame or the slide to the other block, and then there's the one that the carrier that'll shift the sight out of position and then back into position. And we've used quite a few of these tools in the past, and this one seems pretty darn nice. We're going to take a look at it, I guess, first off on this 1911. And you just disassemble your pistol like you normally would. And what we're looking for is the slide. Once we get everything out of there, we'll get the slide out, and you can see there's a dovetail for the rear sight on this one. And the way you work it is you just sort of open it up by eye. You just figure out where your slide's going to fit in there. Height wise, again, you just sort of adjust it, and I'm adjusting it down so that it'll fit underneath the slider tool there. Once I've got it where I want it, I tighten it up with this side. Just sort of snug it up with the different knobs. It's not too difficult. And what I want is the carrier in the back to be right over the sights themselves, and then I can just carry them, drift them over and off. And the tool is actually large enough that I can go almost either way, it looks like, with this set. And just fiddling with them, I moved it out of the way there. So I'm just going to tighten everything and then try to move my sight back to where it was. Now, I anticipated that I would end up moving my sights while I was demoing it here, and I just did. I moved my sights a little bit. I don't use this 1911 very much, but now it's out of whack for sure. But that's fine, because I planned on taking this tool to the range for the full review. And now that I've screwed up my sights on here, we'll take it to the range. We'll see how bad it's shooting, and then we'll bring the sights back online with the tool. So you saw how easy it was to work with the 1911. The Makarov. Fairly easy to disassemble. Now this one, you got the decocker and the safety on the side of the slide, so you just have to know your pistol and go ahead and remove that, and now the slide will fit right in just like it would with any other brand. And this is a universal sight adjustment tool, so it's really designed to work with any pistol. So you can see that I can line it right up here with the Makarov slide, no problems. And now I'm doing it a little quick here for the video, but I might be a little more pay a little more attention to getting that right on there if I was actually adjusting my sight. But I just wanted to show that not too difficult. So even on a smaller slide like this one, no problems. On a Glock, fairly common firearm. Now you could probably leave the barrels and the springs in them, but I'm just taking them down to slides to be consistent. And again, you just keep the logo, the Kaiser logo, looking at you. And this one just needs to be opened just a little bit more. Now this one already has a set of Makarov night sights on it. Now I'm adjusting two things here. I'm adjusting this in to hold the slide tight, but I'm also adjusting it this way. I'm just sort of supporting it with my fingers, and then when I tighten it, I make sure that it's all nice and squared up. Tighten this just to get it squared up, and I probably could have brought it a little bit higher actually. I probably would bring it a little bit higher. And you can see that it's easy to just dial right in, because you want to hit your sights in the dovetail if there's enough room, or just above the dovetail. You don't want to touch your sights just at the very top of the sights. It's just a bad technique. And that's all explained in the DVD actually. So I could easily remove or adjust these Mapper lights on this Glock frame. If I had a Glock frame with the regular polymer sights, it'd be just as easy. Now this one's a Smith & Wesson. They all disassembled just a little bit differently from each other. And again, I could probably leave the barrel and springs in these, but there's no point. Now this one's got some fairly aggressive serrations, but no big deal to the sight tool. It's got sort of a textured rubber kind of epoxied on there or glued on there. Now I'm not going to actually adjust these because I don't want to mess up my sights, and I'm not changing them or anything. But on these you'd want to watch, because there is a set screw, an Allen wrench I'd have to unloosen there. But it would fit right in just like the others. Sort of support it with my fingers there. Now this is a much wider one compared to that Glock, so I'm having to make sure that I set this right. Square it all up, tighten it up, and you can see that it's ready to go. I could easily adjust or slide off this set of sights. Although on this Smith, not right. I would want to move it back, it looks like, to the actual dovetail. But not a problem. Could have easily moved that in the sight tool. And then lastly, an XD. And this one's a bear. In fact, I've got factory sights on this one because it's such a bear. I never was able to get the sights put back on with this one, with the other tools that we've used. So I'll have to try to find another set of sights for this XD and then see how the Kaiser tool works. And I definitely had to open it up to the extreme there, and I'm going to have to drop this down to an extreme. So this is one of the wider frames or wider slides that it would work with, it looks like. And same as the others, just sort of balance it there in the hand, tighten it up. Now this one's going to be a little different because of the shape. It's more like a SIG, so it's got like a two level slide. No big deal, you just tighten it to the bottom part. And I have this one in here kind of sloppy, but you get the idea that it just adjusts to whatever size slides you're using, whatever size pistol you happen to be using. And since it's such a solid tight fit, I suspect that there's not going to be much trouble with the various types of pistols you might use this one with. So, a great looking tool. Seems to be well built. We're going to take it out to the range and screw up some of the sights on these with it. Then we'll go in and sight it back in using the tool as the adjustment. But our initial impressions are definitely favorable. It's $150, which isn't the most expensive tool out there. It's not the cheapest tool out there, but it's definitely not the lowest quality. So this is something that could easily be kept in a range bag. There's no extra parts. There's nothing to lose. You can tighten it up a little bit just to make it a bit more compact. But again, you don't need a special bag with it. You don't need a special pouch. Really impressed with it so far. And it's the kind of thing that you can keep in the range bag, and for the extra little over a pound, it's not going to bother you, and it sure is going to be nice to have. And if you let your friends borrow it, you're really getting your money's worth from it. It's also the kind of thing you could easily keep on the shelf, on a pegboard or whatever, in the gun room, or in your workshop. And again, let friends borrow it. There's plenty of places you can engrave your name on it or stamp or paint a name to it. Well built, solid, no parts to lose, and quality piece of kit.